do you think there is a law that explains how the universe works out there? Because we live in a very complex world, right? And the human mind is one of the most complicated things in existence. But if there's one principle that is also scientifically known, it is the law of polarity, negative and positive. And that will make sense to know these terms about polarity, right? It's very, very important, because if you master this, you can have a quite fulfilling and happy life. Because the energy we put out there into the world, it matters, right? And it not only matters in relationships, but to any type of goal that you might have in your life. So when it comes to polarity, there is a law, right? There is a principle that everything has two poles. So that can be negative and positive. In other words, there could be good and evil, there could be love and hate, and there could be attraction and disconnection at the same time, right? It's like the North and the South Pole, right? Everything in the universe has an opposite, right? Everything is dual. And so we live in duality. And it's what allows us to experience life to the fullest and to appreciate the good that there is in this world. So for every action that we do, there is always an equal and an opposite reaction. And this is the term that is the Newton's third law of motion. And it sums up the law of polarity perfectly, right? It means that the forces come into pairs. So as I said before, negative and positive, action and reaction, for example, and when it comes to relationships, masculine and feminine. You can not only nurture like certain energies within yourself, but you can also use the law of polarity to draw other energies to you. So you're kind of like a magnet, right? So let me give you an example. How can you know happiness if you don't go through sadness? How can love exist without pain? How can the light exist if there's no darkness? And when it comes to relationships, which you know is one of my favorite subjects in the world, is there sexual attraction without opposing energies? You know, because we all heard it before that opposites attract, and that is true. And that's where sexual polarity comes into play. So I want to discuss the masculine and the feminine energy, right? Because the power of polarity as its strongest in love and relationships. So opposing masculine and feminine polarity, when it is truly embraced in a relationships, that's when there's a spark of sexual energy. So the more opposed the sexual energies between two people are, so that is masculine versus the feminine energy, the stronger the attraction will be in the relationship. Physical attraction, spiritual ecstasy, and intimate connection thrive in a relationship when there is a distinct sexual polarity between the energies of both partners. So, if two people in a relationship have a similar sexual polarity, that is, both can be more masculine or more feminine, and then the attraction between them will be diminished. But there is a strong difference where one is extremely feminine and the other partner is masculine. Then the physical attraction will be maximized. It's opposites attract in action. So I want to emphasize that masculine polarity and feminine polarity have nothing to do with gender. So whether you're a man or a woman, we both have masculine and feminine within us. So any person, male or female, can embody both of these energies. So usually people that have masculine energy, they tend to be quite strong, they're mission driven, they're problem solvers, and they're seeking to release from the restraints of life. They could be quite competitive in nature, and they might have some trouble communicating emotions. Yet, these types of energies want to feel appreciated in relationships. Now, on the contrary, people with feminine energy, they're usually more open and free, and they're more ready to give and receive love. So usually feminine energies are people that want to be noticed and understood, and their loving nature can make them stay too long in relationships. So why is it so important to know about sexual polarity in knowing your true nature and how it manifests? So if you're in a relationship, you can use this concept to make it stronger. Are you looking for love? Right? Because when you accept and cultivate your inner energy, you can naturally attract partners that complement you. And once you understand and embrace the energy you put out, you will attract more of the opposite energy in return. Right? So, even though the law of polarity has an opposite, there's a depolarization. So, in sexual polarity, depolarization occurs when one partner, or perhaps both, they try to change their energy to please the other. So, if a feminine partner starts to feel unsafe or unloved within the relationship, they may make it up so to have more masculine tendencies. If a masculine partner feels questioned or perhaps even controlled, they may start to become less decisive and they might lose direction. And the partners no longer have the play of masculine and feminine polarity between them. So both partners can be channeling the same type of energy, which can cause the relationship to become stale, it can start to be tense, or it can even lead to an imbalance, right? So depolarization isn't good for any relationship, yet it can sometimes feel like a pro because we start to feel comfortable with it. You know, we accept the lack of sexual polarity in our relationship in turn for the one of the three keys to passion, and that is intimacy. This is the friendship aspect of relationships. It's the emotional closeness and trust that keeps couples together for the long term. But a friendship without the other two keys to passion, thrill and sensuality, is just that, a friendship. So the depolarization of natural masculine versus feminine energy is a passion killer. And that's a con that is much more significant than any comfort or certainty you may feel. When you have a lack of passion, that can lead to more arguing. There will be lower levels of commitment and even cheating in order to regain the feeling of thrill and excitement again. But you do not need to settle for intimacy without passion. So you're going to ask me, is there a way to fix depolarization? Are you looking for some relationship that's going to be fulfilling in every way? Of course, everybody does that because everybody deserves that, right? It's all about opening the lines of communication with your partner and to be committed to fix the depolarization, right? And that's all about bringing the passion back. So the masculine partner needs to learn to embrace the feminine forces of life, no matter how wild and destructive it becomes. And on the contrary, the feminine partner needs to not shrink when faced with the strong, powerful presence of the masculine partner. It's very, very important that you learn to trust the wisdom of the masculine and its ability to act clearly in spite of emotions, and to embrace the wisdom of the feminine and its inherent intuition and focus on love. What makes relationships work? What do they have in common? What makes a relationship passionate is things being different. you can reclaim the sexual polarity and reclaim the passion. You can reclaim sexual polarity and reclaim the passion. The law of polarity gives us a powerful tool in order to change our mindsets. When we understand there is a positive to every negative, we can choose to focus on the positive. When we get stuck in a negative cycle, it can be hard to see that there is any other way of looking at the world. If you're feeling lonely or unhappy with your career, or perhaps you're feeling unfulfilled, you probably focus on these types of feelings. But these negative thoughts always seem to be followed by negative events in your life, which is going to reinforce the negative thoughts, right? It's an endless cycle, but you get to choose to be able to break it. So this law applies to every facet of your life. First, you must correct your limiting beliefs. If you're unhappy in your job, you need to focus all of your energy in finding a new job. On the surface, if you're focusing on the positive and trying to achieve your goals. However, if you haven't dig deep enough in order to be able to identify the underlying limited beliefs of what it is that you want, you might be perhaps having a fear of failure, or you might have the belief that you don't deserve happiness, right? And this will cause you to continue to attract jobs that are not going to be satisfying to you. And remember, the same rule is going to apply to sexual polarity. If you're not ready, right, to embrace your natural energy in your relationship, it all comes down to your limited beliefs. So these beliefs that you are not good enough, or that your partner will reject you, it can actually cause you to mask your true energy. So if you're a person that's been hurt in previous relationships, that can cause you perhaps to put on a mask, and you may be focused on trying to please others rather than letting yourself be your true self and not letting yourself shine. And my question to you is, are you masking your true identity in your relationships? Are you a person that is more masculine or more feminine? So once you're ready to look at your limited beliefs and take all this knowledge that I'm giving you, you can be on the road to be able to bring back passion to your relationship, or even perhaps to attract a partner that's going to be ideal for you, and that can be life transforming.